to considering insuring your business as the country heads to the elections. And we're talking about political risk insurance, and I'll be speaking to Carol Kamau, who is the Business Development Director at AP Insurance. Perhaps, Carol, one of the big conversations right now is adoption and penetration of insurance has remained rather high-level thing for many Kenyans in terms of they consider it as a rich man's product. Talk to us about how insurance has performed in the last quarter. I believe
the reason why the uptake of insurance in Kenya is a bit slow is our attitude rather than a reason to do with anything economics. People do not value insurance too much in Kenya. However, we have, as an industry, come with insurances that go down to the lower level of insurance market, including the micro insurances and the market insurances and agriculture, livestock, and all that. That is now reaching to the ordinary,
so things have been picking
Kenyan.
up technically.
And technically, things are picking up.
All right.
We've seen a lot of growth in that area.
Interesting.
Yes.
Perhaps talk to us about political risk insurance and terrorism, because this is an increasing risk for many businesses anytime we have elections in a country.
I think to start with, maybe we need to describe or to define what this insurance is. Political violence, terrorism, and sabotage, PVTS, is an insurance that is coined to cover against risks that are associated with politically occurring events occurring as a result of political events such as elections, riots, commotion, terrorism, mutiny, war, and basically to provide coverage against these risks that were previously excluded from ordinary insurance. Yes.
So really, this cover, why is it important, and what's the uptake like for many businesses?
The reason why we take these insurances is that you will not be compensated if you have not taken an insurance against political events in your normal and ordinary policy. Therefore, it's important that we purchase it as an addition or on its own. For big corporate businesses, we advise that you take one policy to cover you against all losses that may be associated with this event, including looting, loss of money, and all that. However, for other insurances, you can take motor against your car when it's damaged while a riot rises. Yeah. Or you can take it against your home, against your person. All that is covered.
All right.
Yes.
Well, political insurance is important because looking at 2007, where we had the post-election violence, a number of businesses were affected. And of course, when we had the Westgate attack, and many people look at taking up this cover as unnecessary and there's no risk towards it. If you're to compare the numbers, 2013, how was the product in the market? And right now, are we seeing a difference in uptake?
Definitely. In 2013, we tried. The insurers went out, spoke about the effect of political unrest and events that had occurred to us as a country in the previous years, 1992, 97, 2007, and 8. And we sold the cover. Now, we have a lot of interest coming from the insureds themselves. People are buying. People are coming to us and saying, I need cover for this and that event.
Who are these people that are buying? Is it individuals like you and me or companies? Who are the buyers really?
It cuts across. It cuts across the corporates, the individuals, and it's of course it's advisable for anybody. If you're driving on the road, you don't know when the next riot will strike. You do not know when a terrorist will be hovering around. Before it seemed like an African problem. Now it's all over.
But really, Carol, the big question for many Kenyans is insurance companies have had that reputation of delaying to make claims to be done in good time. So there's that laxity where people are saying, hey, this guy's not my time. What has changed over time?
Over time, we've had so many different developments in the insurance industry. For example, computerization made it all easier to deal with claims. And, you know, the delays are now paying by EFT or, you know, not waiting for the check to be signed by several people. That has made it easier for us to compensate our clients when they have an incident. Also, I believe that the Kenyans have become more aware of their rights, and therefore, as an insurance industry, in response to this, we have to become more proactive rather than reactive. Therefore, we've developed ourselves to a point where we are telling you as a customer, I will pay you within 3 days, I will pay you within 7 days, I will pay you within 2 days, depending on what kind of payment we are making. So the whole process in claims has been shortened and made it easier for you as an individual or as a corporate to get back or to get compensated and to be put back on your feet.
Let's take a regional look into this. Right now, we know Rwandans are going to the ballot. They're voting actually today. We did have the president, the incumbent, Paul Kagame, vote. Perhaps from a regional perspective, how has the product performed really in terms of trying to penetrate East Africa?
I think Kenyans are a bit more interested, more curious. They want to be protected. So it's been quite active in Kenya, but it's trickling down. And we've got a lot of Kenyan companies going for businesses outside in the East African region as well. So I believe in another 2-3 years, this is going to be a very popular product, yes, for us.
So, Carol, the big picture right now is people are quite, should I say, taking up, there's a lot of uncertainty, which is good for you people in the insurance business, because the uncertainty opens up an avenue for you to bring products into the market. But what, in your view, do you feel has been leading to the low uptake, especially across the board of insurance products? We are talking about a penetration of 3%. If you look next door, South Africa is at 15%, nearly 5 times what Kenya is doing.
Generally, Kenyans are peaceful people. Generally, we do not have, we don't upset our social being. We keep to what we know and what we like. And therefore, Kenyans trust a lot, and therefore they believe that, for example, this period is going to be really to go without events. And therefore, they shy away from seeming to propose that there is going to be a problem. But however, it is better to be safe than to be sorry. Take insurance. If the events, if the elections go on as expected, and we safely move on to the next regime, it's going to be a plus for us as an industry. And but however, we are ready. After the 2008 violence, we as an industry realized that there was a need to come out aggressively.
There was a gap. Actually.
There was a gap. And we came out aggressively and said, hey, we can write these covers. In many economies, the government takes care of it. The government will have a fund for terrorism events. The government will come up with a pool and provide solutions. But in Kenya, we did not have that. And we realized, hey, our insureds have a gap. We went out to the markets that support us and said, here, we need a treaty. We need to be able to do this business here in Kenya without referring it to this and that person. And therefore, we formed all these policies and went out and marketed them aggressively. In fact, we every time we send out a mail, we will remind you that this is the season. Actually, one of the projects that the industry has been running through AKI, which is our membership organization, is to talk to our insured, people who are already insured and they're in our books, tell them that they are not covered unless specifically insured for political violence and terrorism. So we are taking a proactive step to make sure that we safeguard their property.
And perhaps as we head to the tail end of this interview, fraudulent claims have been a menace for the insurance sector. And now being in the political season, it's very easy for someone to hire goons. He knows or she knows they've insured their building against political risk. They attack the place. They make a claim. Has the insurance industry been able to circumvent and be able to have a very strong, watertight kind of assessment process so as to ensure we weed out such unscrupulous business people?
We can call it watertight. I mean, anybody wanting to do something illegal will find a way to do it. But we can say what we have done. We have the anti-fraud unit. We are sitting with our regulator, IRA. And as I would speak from my organization, if we do suspect that there has been foul play in any claim process, we bring in our investigators, pay them ourselves, and get them to do a good job of looking through what was the position of this client. We'll go to their finances, we'll go to their all anything that can suggest that this person needed to be liquidated. You know, in a short while. So basically that's what the industry does. If during the claims process we suspect that somebody had done something that may suggest the claim is false, then we will send in an investigator. But of course, it's not watertight. It's not watertight, but we try as much as we can to safeguard, and the anti-fraud unit is helping.
So it's not watertight, but there's
a good effort.
Hope things will be streamlined down the road.
Exactly. With the emergence of technology, there's a lot we can do with it. Yes.
Speaking about technology, the lower base of the society has not been able to afford insurance. And here I'm talking about the people having a stall at Gikomba Market, someone having a kiosk in an estate. And one thing leads to the other, and perhaps their place is attacked and people loot their goods. How do we ensure we also rope in this kind of people into taking up such covers to ensure they're also safeguarded in the eventuality of such an incident?
I think what as I stated at the beginning of the interview, is that we've designed products for these people. We call them microinsurance. And this microinsurance is basically a normal insurance policy that can go to cover political violence, riots, and strikes. And therefore, what we need to do is sensitize the market that these products are available. And mostly what we do with this group of people, we use aggregators. You know, chamas, the financiers, and other form of organizations where they are organized, and they can buy through that stream so that it's easier for them to reach insurance. We've also gone ahead to do it on technology-wise, where you can buy on your phone, and as APA, we've got portals that you can just go in and buy as long as you can access the internet.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the affordability question, because this also locks out many people. Just give us an example. Assuming I have, let's say, a stall in Kisumu, and I want it to be insured against political risk. How much would it cost me, and what is the payment period?
What we do with our political violence covers is that we sell them as a plus to something else. So, for example, this person would have to take a fire policy, and once they take a fire policy, I will load a small amount to make sure that they are covered for political violence. So that would mean that I would charge an extra maybe 0.5% on the value of their property, or 0.65% depending on the area where they are based, and that would be able to cover them against that kind of risk. But they have to
So we can't put a cost, say, for example, you'll pay
3,000, 2,000. I will calculate it as a factor of what they have in their shop.
Okay.
That's why we can't have a price, yes.
And Carol, finally, looking at the nominations process, we did see some elements of hooliganism. Perhaps as an insurer, did you experience some claims that you had to pay after the nominations, or was it just smooth?
We had a very smooth season this time round, and we are really praying that the elections will go the same way. During this period of nominations, we did not experience too much activity, maybe a windscreen here, a window glass there, but not really anything serious. We did not see a damage to property. I think Kenyans are becoming more sensitive to it. However, as I said, it's better to be safe than sorry. We still have today, tomorrow, and Monday, and people can still purchase this cover as an addition to what they have on their motor vehicles, on their homes. If you have anything in town, a business, we will extend it on your current policy, or we will give you a standalone policy depending on what your need is.
So let me take your closing thoughts on your outlook for the insurance sector, especially in line with this particular product. How is it likely to perform, say, in the coming half of the year?
Generally, Kenyans will react to an event. So we are praying that there won't be an event to react to, but that they'll become more sensitive to and learn For example, Westgate did not happen on an election year, isn't it?
Yeah.
People were parked there, somebody came and hit it, and they lost their property. So it is not necessarily the fact that we have an election that a damage or a loss can arise. Or would really recommend that people buy these insurances, and including when we have peaceful elections. Yes.
Many thanks, Carol Kamau, the Business Development Director at AP Insurance. Thank you for your time. And just some interesting insights there when it comes to political risk insurance and some of the aspects you need to consider as we go into the elections that insurance companies are trying to realign themselves